So guys, this Anglican church reverend who was reportedly taken by the terror guys in Kaduna State is said to have died in captivity. He was taken for like 1 month. On the 28th of October. They kidnapped him, his wife, and one of his children. 3 of them in captivity, and today we woke up to the news that he has been died in captivity. Take a look at this headline. It says, mind you, my uncle, an Anglican vicar of Kaduna Diocese, and his wife, a custom officer, has been in captivity for almost a month now. So this person posted this man actually served Nigeria as a custom officer. Now, take a look at this. It says, today, the same person is posting, today, the kidnappers used his phone, took the picture, and uploaded it on his Facebook page. Please, you people should beg Tinubu to call them like he called them personally for the release of others. So this person is saying they used the phone of this man, take a picture of him and his children, and one of his children and wife in captivity, and then they posted it on his Facebook post. And today we woke up to the news that he has been died in captivity. So guys, a whole lot is happening. Like this person here tweeted and said, they tied him, and when we talk, some pro-Tinubu will attack. Put yourself in the shoes of his kids, his family, church members, loved ones. Can't you guys be human for once? Jesus Christ. So guys, we can't even explain the kind of things happening in this country today. Also, Amnesty International has reported on this issue. Let me show you exactly the way Amnesty reported it. It says that priest in charge of Ebenezer Anglican Church, Onguwan Maijero Edwin Achi, who was kidnapped by gunmen alongside his wife and daughter on the 28th of October 2025, died in custody. His wife and daughter are still in the captivity of the gunmen. Gunmen invaded his house in Nisi community, Chikun, local government area of Kaduna State on October 28, 2025. The gunmen later contacted the family, demanding for 600 million naira for a reverend. Can you imagine? 600 million naira ransom, in-season killing and abduction for ransom, and the stunning failure of the authorities to end them and bring suspected perpetrators to justice have been and continues to be a threat to the right to life in Nigeria. And he went ahead to say government at all levels is increasingly failing in its constitutional and international human rights obligation to protect lives and ensure accountability. So guys, accountability for all human rights abuses and violations. So it's really heartbreaking. We don't even know who to call on today. We don't know who to call on. Will you go to the UN? Recently, it was reported on one of Israel's channels that the United Nations is aiding Hamas. So you can imagine that everywhere has been hijacked. So guys, I'm just going to allow you to take a look at how this analyst on Arise TV has narrated what is happening. Short, when I listened to him, I was like, no, I cannot watch this alone. You guys have to listen to him. 2 of the parents of the kidnapped children in Niger State have gone. They've died. I mean, horror is happening in this country. See how Nigerians are reacting to the death of this reverend. This person say, please address them as terrorists, kidnappers for which they are. Sugarcoating who they are as gunmen does not sound well. People are telling Amnesty International to call them terrorists, not gunmen. And this other person here say, Amnesty International, Amnesty Nigeria, you are saying he died in custody. As in how? Was he sick or murdered? Please avoid political correctness in your reportage. State what actually happened. Many people are saying that he should say they killed him. And this person say he was not kidnapped by gunmen. He was killed by terrorists. The Nigerian government is doing nothing about it. The Christian genocide must end now. So guys, these terrorists can never kidnap an imam or an Islamic cleric. It is only the Christians, reverend fathers, pastors, reverend. Recently, they killed one from Ekwa Church. They kidnapped him and his members. We don't even know the whereabouts of those members. So guys, becoming a Christian in northern Nigeria is hell. Other person here said. Meanwhile, Madam Remi Tinubu, the wife of the incompetent president of Nigeria, is preparing a banquet for the members of the Nigerian Senate, as said by the Senate president. The wrath of the Almighty won't overlook these wicked people. Just watch. So Nigerians are really angry at this moment. So guys, I just wanted to take a look at the analysis by this Arise TV analyst. Honestly, I was like, no, I can't watch this alone. Let me share it with you guys. Horrific things happening in Nigeria. Just take a look.
The latest situation update, including the number of students still missing and the efforts being made to locate them.
Thank you, Charles. As at now, it's still very controversial if indeed the 11 people you're talking about are actually linked to this school directly, because we don't have that statement officially, even though some foreign broadcasters are saying that they've spoken with the governor, Mohammed Umar Bago, and that's why he told them, but we don't have confirmation. Neither do the authorities, have any confirmation or have said anything about that. But as at now, we hear about 303 students remain missing, and some of the parents are actually saying that they are yet to be yet to get any very strong information from the government that they are still in the dark as to what actually is going on. But like 2 of the parents have actually passed away. Sadly, one died as a result of heart attack and all of that, and that was said by the Bishop of Kontagora Diocese of the Catholic Church, and of course,
and that's a result of the trauma.
Yes, the trauma that they've gone around.
Abducted.
Yes,
Terrible.
one good thing is that the Nigerian government is working on it, and there's an uproar. I mean, the federal lawmakers, both in the House of Reps and the Senate, were very, very angry. I mean, some few moments ago, where the House of Representatives, for example, asked the federal government to stop paying ransoms. That, I mean, it's against the spirit of the Constitution to be dialoguing with these bandits and paying ransom. And they are even saying, I mean, one of the former leaders, former Deputy Speaker, Idris Wasi, alleged that some Boko Haram members and other bandits infiltrated the army and the police, and so that's why this is going out of hand. And they are saying that it's alarming to see that more of these anti-state actors are, going after schools and all of that. And then, of course, the Senate too. Senators were divided as to the actions that the federal government is taking, and saying that, look, this thing is going out of hand and we need foreign assistance. Deputy President of the Senate was very, very clear in stating that we need foreign assistance at this moment, and that's what we are all hoping, that all of this will be done in such a way that the federal government does not put the lives of Nigerians at risk. If we keep on paying ransom, there's no official statement that ransom has been paid, but from the tone of federal officials, you see that something would have given way in exchange. And yes, it's good to actually appease the parents and all of that, but on a wider scale, what do we do? Because we have an emergency situation at hand. Shouldn't we be setting up early warning systems in schools and all of that to prevent this? Because these are soft targets, and these bandits or terrorists or however you want to call them know that once they attack schools, they will put pressure on the government. Now, in the north central state of Kogi, Arise News has got news coming out from there not quite long ago when I edited that report, and the news is that they went to a school trying to abduct more students, but unfortunately for the bandits, the community vigilante groups and all of that were able to repel them and all of that. So that means there are still attempts. And so why are these terrorists or bandits being emboldened within this period? Something must be amiss.
Well, let me ask you that question, because you're the man with the ear to the ground. I mean, you talk about the fact that the National Assembly are calling for foreign help. What are the main challenges facing the authorities in responding to not only this particular incident, but all the other things, including security issues, including logistical or security concerns?
Now, Charles, if we want to be truthful to ourselves, it's a dicey situation, not just for Nigeria, but for even the countries we're calling on for foreign intervention. So, for example, we call on the U.S., and the U.S. eventually comes on with boots on ground or whatever through air support and all of that. And, for example, they mistakenly bombard communities that don't have anything to do with this and all of that. They, mistakenly hit targets and all of that. Don't you think that the U.S. will actually have a bad press like it happened in Afghanistan and, maybe Iraq and all of that? And you know how so many of those countries actually came out, including Iran and all of that, and they kept saying death to America and all of that.
Yeah, but
if this happens in northern Nigeria,
are they calling for the Americans to take direct action?
Yes, it's one of those things. I mean, to actually isolate where these terrorists are, bombard them and all of that and so on. So it's a dicey situation. I've been speaking with some intelligence experts, and they tell me that, look, even the Americans have to be very careful, because if they do get involved in this and they come in and they bombard the community and it's found out that it's innocent citizens that have been bombarded, even the locals who are calling for an American intervention will turn against the U.S. And before you know it, it gets out of hand and people start saying death to America and all of this and all of that. So it has to be a win-win situation between the Nigerian authorities and any other country that is supporting Nigeria, because it's not just the U.S., even France, Britain, and all of that. The National Assembly is calling for this support, because with increased intelligence, we can be able to set up early warning systems, and then of course once intelligence comes in, it can be processed rapidly, and you have both local vigilantes to the police to the civil defense and the army all playing their part. Because let's be truthful, the army can't be everywhere. We can't also have the DSS everywhere. So, I mean, the citizens themselves have to help their government this time around. I mean, that's why we as journalists too, we're supporting the government in terms of the sort of information that we put out there. Let people also stop spreading false alarms. Because, I mean, just here in the nation's capital, we had a false alarm being spread. In Kanu, for example, there was another false alarm. In Maiduguri, there was also another false alarm. That schools were being targeted and all of that. So what this does is that, you know, the little security presence that we have and operatives will be sent to those schools and it will be stretched. And it could also be a decoy by some of these bandits. Send out those false information, the public feeds it to the security agencies, and attention is diverted while they now go to other areas.
Yeah, but to
and
be
then
fair,
capture people.
Sumner, you can't really blame the public, because I mean, if you've got children in a particular school and there are rumors flying around that possibly that school is a target, you're obviously going to get very nervous and uncomfortable.
Yes, but people have to help their security forces. I mean, because, I mean, these are not angels falling from anywhere. We have to look at how we stop spreading misinformation and then disinformation on social media. A whole lot of things are going on. I mean, old videos being recycled and all of that. We need a sort of cooperation between the citizens, and that's why I'm asking the federal government to set up a national communication center, you know, where this information, we're at war, Charles, and we need to manage the sort of messaging that's going out. We need to ensure that these terrorists don't win us through propaganda.
Absolutely.
And the government shouldn't resort to propaganda, because this information coming out, the government just telling us that they went and rescued. What happened to those who actually were holding back these girls? Was it, did they get killed? Was there an exchange and all of that? And that's why you see even celebrities are joining this debate right now. They are asking federal lawmakers to put more pressure on the federal government to account not just for citizens that have been abducted, but for also monies that have been given for the intelligence gathering, for the purchase of equipment, recruitment of more people, because we need a judicial commission of inquiry if it's possible.
You're making some very good points there, Sumner, and there is also considerable concern that if you don't get to, I mean, just returning to those abducted children from Niger State, that if you don't get to them in time, I think you actually mentioned that.
Yeah, I mean, I said that.
They're split into little groups. That complicates it much more.
Yeah, I mean, I said
they
that.
could even be taken out of the country.
Yes, I mean, that's the challenge that we have right now, because we have these different terrorist cells. What they do is that if, for example, a smaller group of bandits actually capture the students and all of that, the medium one or the bigger groups will come around, buy all of this, and then they will be using to negotiate with the federal government. And that's why you see the federal government too is being forced in one way or the other to engage in this underhand tactics of engaging with these terrorists. I mean, some of these terrorists are so emboldened that they are going on social media. I mean, there was this video circulating where they were asking some of these Kebbi girls who were rescued that, I mean, is your government coming to save you? Do you think that the government can save you from us? And the schoolgirls said no. So it's indoctrination, trying to make the schoolgirls or school kids know that, I mean, their government can help them. So we're in a helpless situation. Basically. I mean, this is Nigeria. I mean, the largest country on the continent, the largest country that has the black race and all of that. I mean, we should do something.
Absolutely.
Citizens must never be made to lose faith in their government, because that's a recipe for anarchy.
I agree with you. And just returning to Papiri in Niger State, I mean, we heard that the governor was quoted as saying that a register had been set up where families with missing, in an effort to actually get the correct sort of figures, where families can go and register if their families, their children are missing. But there are concerns about the accessibility of that register, because it's said to be 20 kilometers away from Papiri, and I'm told the place is really bad. The roads are terrible. For them to go all the way to that place, I mean, what sort of concerns should there be about the accessibility and effectiveness of that register?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I know the government is trying to ascertain actually how many of these kids were kidnapped, because the reports are unclear as to if they are up to 300. Some other reports say they are 303. Others said, you know, they were more than that. But is it
bizarre that continues? I mean, for some reason, there's no communication between the school or the Christian Association of Nigeria and the government, because I mean the man from the Christian Association who came here yesterday, he said we don't understand what they're talking about. We've supplied all the figures.
Well, I mean, that's where the contradiction lies, because the government is also accusing the Christian Association of Nigeria through, I mean, the Catholic Church there, of not having followed regulations. And the regulations had been that that school was a target, the school should be shut down, just like others. Other schools were shut down, but this school refused to be shut down. And so within the context of what is happening in terms of the numbers, I'm thinking that some of the families are actually feeling that, you know, it could be difficult going there to go and just say, okay, this my kid is involved and all of that, and not heighten the expectations. So what they are doing is just sitting by, speaking with their traditional rulers, opinion molders in that sort of small nuclear society. Shouldn't the government also be speaking with the opinion molders there, the traditional rulers and all of that? People who have direct access to these community leaders, yes, and all of that. So, because I think it could be easier rather than having federal officials from Abuja or even state officials. I mean, Mina to Niger, to Bogu, where it happened, the state capital, Mina, to Bogu, where it happened, it's like about 3 hours or so. It's a vast stretch of land and all of that. So I think there needs to be more trust between the parents and all of that. And then this particular area where it happened, I told you, it's a very difficult area. Lots of insurgent groups operating within that area. The government needs to do a whole lot of aerial surveys and to see where these people are. And that's why the government also wants to find out if this is true. Because you can't be moving 300 students from one location to the other and nobody will know.
Yeah.
So because it's all complicated. So we need foreign support in terms of intelligence, in terms of reconnaissance, you know, for aircraft that are hovering around. And some of this, you know, the bizarre thing is that some of these insurgents are saying that they are seeing aircraft hovering around, and the government can't do anything. So they are daring the government. Now, why can't we go back to what happened in 2014 when the Chibok girls were, you know, kidnapped? The Americans said they wanted to help us out there. And what they were going to do was to actually to drop some sleeping gas where these terrorists are located. And from there, all of them will fall asleep, and then they will now pick out the students, and then of course obliterate the other places. So
and eliminate the possibility of collateral damage.
So we could actually do that, but we need to get our facts right so that we don't have like what happened during the Rand bombing, where the military, for example, mistakenly bombarded a large community with over 200 people being killed because of, you know, intelligence that was not, you know, properly done.
And you mentioned you gave us the very sad news of two parents or two sets of parents dying.
Yes.
The parents of some of the kids who were abducted. I mean, do we know if any support is being provided to those affected families, including any sort of, I don't know, psychosocial support or medical care?
Well, that's where we usually have problems when it comes to communities, especially hard to reach areas. Actually, Charles, this is not readily available. Yeah, we can see some of these religious groups like the Catholic Church that actually owns the institution trying to see what they can support. But even then, getting to that community and all of that, it's a very difficult thing. So the state government has been trying to see its best. Not quite long ago, we had the APC national chairman of Nigeria's governing party, meeting with Governor Umar Bago and all of that, pledging federal support. We need a whole lot of federal support. He was a former humanitarian affairs minister, and I'm very sure with his experience, he can be able to provide the needed support through the new humanitarian minister to see what can be made available to the parents, because some of them could be hypertensive, some of them could be going through a whole lot of, you know, ailments, and then with this news coming to them, I mean, it would be devastating. So we need a whole lot of social support for them while the military is going ahead to do whatever it can. But I can tell you that whatever the military or the government did in Kebbi and in Kwara needs to be replicated in Niger. And then the most important thing is that we should set up early warning systems in schools, because the UNICEF, as at last year, said that 37% of schools in northern Nigeria did not have capacity for setting up early warning system that will prevent this from happening. So why didn't the government obtain that report and use it to actually beef up more security through the Safe Schools initiative and help these schools out? Now we are, you know, I mean, if it's true that we are paying ransom, then that means we are taking huge sums of money meant for development to use to give to these guys. And what happens then? They go to buy more ammunition, more arms, and use it to terrorize the Nigerian state, including our military. This is unacceptable.
You will need to have a country before you can say you are contesting for any election where a political party. But what is more important to us at this time is that our country is faced with a kind of security challenge that we probably had never faced in our history. So the immediate issues that the question you asked, it appeared that after President Trump made that statement on 31st of October, it does appear that at a point it was becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. It appeared that the bandit, the criminal elements, the bandits and the insurgents saw that they could actually put their finger on a particular pressure point of our nation. And because they got the global attention, terrorism without attention is nothing. So terrorists, apart from killing people, also want it to be reported, and that's why they come out to claim that we did this. So in the aftermath of that statement, we saw an escalation in attacks. That's when Iruku happened and a couple of others as well. But what we are disturbed about is that the government is not being honest with Nigerians. We are glad, we are happy that some of the kidnapped people have rejoined their family, whatever the government did. But if you listen to the conversation, if you listen to the rhetoric of government officials, I listened to the IGP of police, Egbetokun, who said, oh, the reason they did not arrest these kidnappers was because they came out by themselves and volunteered by themselves. So what it meant is that when criminals volunteered to come out and surrender their weapons, then then they no longer have any liability to suffer under the law. That is one. Secondly, I will listen to Mr. Bayon Onuga, who said, oh, the reason the security forces did not attack the bandits was because they asked them nicely, and those people also say, okay, because you asked us nicely, we're going to. I mean, Bayon Onuga is someone I have a lot of respect for because of the work he has done in the media. But sometimes I think when he talks as if he thinks he's talking to morons. Because when you say that all you did was that you asked them nicely and they released the captives, it insults intelligence of right-thinking people. What is clear to us is that government is making deals with kidnappers. Government is making deals with insurgents. Perhaps because there may be different considerations, but perhaps because they want a quick win, they want something to celebrate, then they will not hesitate to make the kind of negotiation or deals that they are doing. They are doing deals with insurgents. They can't deny that, But what happens is that when you make those kind
government is doing deals with?
Oh, I mean, they are doing deals with insurgents. That's a heavy allegation.
Yes,
it's an allegation
of complicity of government.
It's not necessarily complicit. It's not really complicity. You see, the problem is that
these are terrorists.
Yeah, but okay.
And you're saying that the government is hands in gloves with terrorists.
Government said they engaged with them. Government said they leave the issue of whether how much they paid them, how they paid them. But the point is that for you to talk to them, you said you talked to them and they agreed to release the people they captured. Now it means that you are in contact with them, you knew them. So why didn't you arrest them? Has a single arrest been made? Because for you to talk to them, to agree to release the people they kidnapped, means that you know where they were. And you actually had conversations with them, whether you begged them or you bribed them or you did whatever, then they agreed to release those people.
There is a video, right, Mr. Abdullahi, that I fear, because there's social media video and we're processing it.
Yeah.
Processing it to know the source, the time code, but it has an ammo tank. Yeah. Of the military, and you see that there was a military officer who came out from the ammo tank and gave one of the bandits who were and they had sophisticated weapons, all of them, young mid-aged boys who were on rampage and moving on motorbikes, and you could see another truck of police officers, Nigerian police force, and you see the military on the hand there where the ammo tank, and they were relating freely, and they were moving around. That will be subjected to proper scrutiny to be able to know where exactly this video was taken, when it was taken, and the circumstances around it. But what you are depicting, and so the fact that the Kebbi State governor said, we did not pay them a dime. But you are suspecting to the extent that this government must have engaged them to the extent of maybe money exchange hands, or maybe there is a deal. Because if you see them, why not arrest them?
Then there were conversations. They had conversations with them. So you mean these people just agreed to surrender? They were asking, the real case, they were asking for 100 million per victim. So you mean you just went to them and say, okay, don't do this again, you know, and they just say, okay.
Could it be for the greater good of securing the lives of these?
I'm not saying, I'm not questioning the intentions. The intention was to rescue these people, and that's what matters.
Pressure?
I think it could be, but what we are saying is that the probable unintended consequence is that government, if by doing deals with kidnappers, are unwittingly reinforcing the banditry economy. Because you see what happened in Ekiti local government, like you said, after the release of the Eruku churchgoers, what happened the following day? The very next day, they went to Isapa, a neighboring community, and abducted 11 people. Up till now, those 11 people are still in captivity. So that is the danger of making deals with kidnappers, with criminals and terrorists. Because when you make this with them, you are actually admitting that you are powerless. You are actually showcasing your vulnerability, and you are encouraging them to do more. I have no doubt that the intention of government is to secure the quick release of the victims. We are glad that those victims have reunited with their family, but we are saying that the approach is not strategic, it's not sustainable. I'm glad now that President Tinubu we've been saying this forever, that government needed to escalate the security situation in the country. And we are glad that the president is finally listening and declaring the state of emergency. But again, we'll have to ask ourselves, what does that entail? And we'll have to watch in the coming days to see how this works. No, but for us, we are worried because let's take the issue of the schools that we have closed. When you closed schools because bandits could go and kidnap children, what you are saying is that I'm no longer capable of protecting my schools. And don't forget, the ideology of Boko Haram is Western education is forbidden. So by shutting down schools, you are reinforcing the Boko Haram ideology.
But again, is it not proactive? Do you have to wait until more students are kidnapped?
Can you protect your schools? Okay, let's take only the Unity School. Unity schools have how many? 47? Are you telling me that the Nigerian government does not have the capacity to protect 47 schools? Are you telling me that if you mobilize the Nigerian civil defense and give them equipment, they cannot protect 47 schools? So why is the government looking for easy way out? Look, because by shutting down these schools, now let me ask you a question, Shil. What does the government need to see before they reopen those schools? When would the government be able to say the schools are now safe and the children can now go back to school? What would government need to see? Is it to put in place the right security arrangement? If they could do that, why didn't they do it? So government panicked and they felt that the easiest way out was to shut down the schools. And I'm telling you that the issue of the Unity schools is just one instance. In northern Nigeria, so many schools have shut down. So, and that is why you see those who know are saying that we are endangering the future of our children. Terrorists are reshaping the future of Nigerian children. Because if we are kowtowing to them, if we are surrendering to them, we are allowing them to dictate how we run our society.
Let me know what the opposition and what you think about President Bola Tinubu's actions and reactions to what has happened in the past days. First and foremost, cancelled his trip to South Africa at the G20 minute, cancelled his meeting to Angola, made a decisive decision on withdrawing the number of police officers that we don't even have enough to cover and protect citizens that are protecting politically exposed persons and VIPs. Already, one of the lawmakers is already scared because the lack of protection on them as politicians portends danger to their lives, and already saying you have to define what a VIP is, because some of them are now being threatened in their localities. Now, he took a decision again today, this evening, saying there is a state of emergency on security in Nigeria. More hiring in the army, more hiring in the police. We need more boots on the ground. These are those who will say this is an action of a man who is resolute in fighting the challenges. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, we must commend the president for the latest action of declaring the state of emergency on security, because that's what they ought to have done all along. We have said it repeatedly that the government needed to raise security alert in the country, and we are glad that he's finally responding. But you see, this is not the first time that they say, oh, we are withdrawing policemen from VIPs. Even today, I saw so many VIPs and I still saw policemen with them. So is it that it has not taken effect? Some of these things government said, and like we said when it was first announced, we say it's just drama. It's not strategy. Saying that you are withdrawing police from VIP is good for the headlines. But in real terms, what does it mean? Look, the security situation in this country, and like you mentioned, you say you saw a video and you saw the kind of sophisticated weapons that is in the hands of these insurgents. With due respect to the police, and I know our Nigerian police can do a lot, but what we are saying is that a police system that is demoralized, that is demotivated, if you know the condition under which this police, our police officers, our policemen serve, you will feel sorry for the Nigerian state. Go to the barracks and see where these policemen live. So there are a lot of issues here. Do they have the capacity to combat these insurgents? You know, recruiting, you recruit 100,000 or 50,000 more policemen. Then you start training them today. You are preparing, you are recruiting your soldiers when the war has already started. Well, it's better late than never. But what we are saying is that there is a lot of structural issues that we need to address as well. The question is, like you said, who gave information? Who directed the security in that secondary school? Who called them to withdraw from the place? Who called them to withdraw before the militants went to the school to attack children? So there are a lot of things, but overall, we are glad that the president is taking this decision. So we'll see where it leads us in the coming days.
So if you do the mathematics, for example, and I guess the reason why some of the lawmakers are unhappy, and I would pay attention on the National Assembly, and without having to look sometimes at the State Assembly. But for example, let me give you an example. We have 109 senators.
Yes.
Let's assume, because police protection don't come in single,
maybe two or three.
Yeah, so let's say two people are protecting one senator.
Yes.
2 police officers times 109, it gives you 720. You have, it's give you 218. Sorry. You have 360 members of the House of Reps.
Yes.
Let's assume 2 of them are protecting them.
Yes.
So it gives you 720.
Yes.
If you put all the numbers together, it's a little short of 1,000.
Yes.
Only. I'm not talking about those ones who are guarding the institution itself. And I know that the Senate President has more than 2.
Yes.
The Deputy Senate President has more than 2. The Speaker of the House has more than 2.
Yes.
The Deputy Speaker has more than 2. The leaders have more than 2. And you look at it. So let's assume that about 1,000 plus are guarding the National Assembly and the lawmakers every day. And we have less than 60 what's it called now? Unity schools in Nigeria.
Yes.
Are you saying 1,000 police officers cannot safeguard these schools? That's on one hand. Look at 36 states of the Federation, and you have a minimum of 15 members of the Assembly, and they have another 2 per member of it's just a mess that we have. Less than 450,000 police officers, over 100,000 guarding VIPs. But now you said today that not all of them, and I'm not sure if that is being executed. And the president needs to pay attention. If you give an order as a president, and this is not we've had it several times. A lot of the IG, even roadblocks. When you say dismantle roadblocks go back, and you see police officers going back to the roadblock.
This year alone, we've had it twice. And I'm telling you that this forest guard that they have just recruited to augment the police, we see them around now in towns following VIPs. Even the new forest guard that they have recruited. You know, so what I'm saying is that when you say is, the whole thing is about leadership. The whole thing is about governance. It's about whether this government has the political will. I mean, we keep saying it's better late than never, but if this government had done what they ought to have done in the last 2 years, we'll probably not be in this mess that we are in. Why did it take President Trump making a statement for us to start jumping around and remembering that we could declare a state of emergency, we could withdraw policemen from VIP, we could do all this dancing around? Why did it take President Trump making a comment before the president remembers that he needed to nominate ambassadors? So it's a ridiculous system. This government in the last 2 years have been obsessed with politics and politicking. That's all that concerned them. So now they are doing all this fire brigade thing because but I'm glad that the National Assembly people who are singing on your mandate we shall stand, now they are the same people now complaining maybe because their security is so the important thing we need to pay attention to. I pray that whatever government is doing works, because like you said, my state is directly affected. Many other states are affected. We have relations all over the place, and this is a matter of life and death situation. So when we talk like this, we are not talking just as partisan. We are talking because we are Nigerian citizens, and we want whatever government is doing to work, because we need to have a country to be able to play politics. We need to have people.
So guys, the United States has expressed warning over the safety of Reverend Dachumo. And it's nice that the US is giving a warning. The United States is saying that US will hold Nigerian government responsible if anything happens to Reverend Ezekiel Dachumo, says Raimo. That the US is not going to tolerate it if anything happens to Reverend Ezekiel Dachumo. The man said he has been receiving a whole lot of threats, even from the federal government. They say he should stop talking about the government and the genocide. The man say, okay, you also allow the Fulanis to buy us, and now you don't want us to talk. Now let me see how Nigerians are reacting. This person says, US don't give Mr. President another job. Dear President, let Ezekiel Dachumo come dey sleep in Aso Rock, I beg. I don't use US to come for our I don't want US to come for our money. He is the trap. If I feel Reverend Ezekiel may be the trap US have set for Nigeria, waiting for these terrorists to touch him so they can unleash their bombs. But people are dying every day. Students are being kidnapped too. Another person is a very good TS now on the Nigerian government to make sure Reverend Dachumo is protected. When you want your money safe, give it to the thief to hold. Nigerian people, say if you want your money safe, give it to the thief to hold. Perfect. Fulani terrorists online are already pointing at him aggressively. Their foot soldiers may go to work soon. The best news ever, at least Bat has been given another great task. God bless you, Read Donatrom and Raimo. They should provide him tight security, undercover CIA. We don't want you to hold Nigeria responsible. Please come and help the poor masses in this country, because the government is not protecting lives and properties any longer. Thank you, Raimo. This person say, good one. If not, they will buy him. They don't hang bone for dog neck. Period. Rubbish news. Give him visa to go stay in America. We don't need him here. They will still deploy him away for spreading fake news. He's not spreading fake news. I don't know why people still call this genocide fake news. I still don't understand what is going on, honestly. Anyway, like nnamdi Kanu said, they will be there pursuing the Igbos. Their land will be taken away. And that's just what we are seeing today, honestly. Now, let me take you through more headlines here on the social media. So, guys, a whole lot has been happening. I don't know if you've heard that El-Rufai's son condemned nnamdi Kanu being incarcerated. So, guys, many people have applauded that move. For El-Rufai's son to come and say, why was a terrorist leader given 20 years in prison, why nnamdi Kanu is left to face horror, you know. That is just it. Anyway, let me go through more headlines here for you to see. Many people have been lambasting Tinubu's wife for keeping silent over what is happening in Nigeria, you know, real silent. But she invited the Senate to come and have some sumptuous meal. How do you call it again? Sumptuous meal. Now, El-Rufai's son says it's wrong that Nnamdi Kanu got life sentence while Boko Haram terrorists received 20 years in prison. Why is justice being served differently in Nigeria? Bello El-Rufai, member representing Kaduna North Federal Constituency. Let's see how Nigerians are reacting to this. IPOB will start faming him now. Watch. This is Nigeria. First of all, Nnamdi Kanu is never a terrorist. This remark by El-Rufai has two intentions: to deceitfully and subtly infuse into the minds of people that Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist. Him with an ISWAP leader, Takia, to appear to be advocating justice against terrorism. I think this makes sense. If you are aware of the beef between Fulani and Kanuri, you understand why this Fulani Janjaweed will boldly call Boko Haram terrorists. Okay, the other guy is a Kanuri guy. You know, we generalize this as all of them are northerners, but I think I'm getting to understand that the other ISWAP leader is a Kanuri guy. And then, okay, now I understand. And this other person, Bello Rufai, is beating Igbos. Do not fall for it. He doesn't like Nnamdi Kanu one bit, and he doesn't hate terrorists at all. You better be wise. This is part of their takia and whatever they call it, outright deceit, so they can get you where you want, when they want you, where they want you. They want you, then destroy you. So this Bello El-Rufai speaking, and some people are saying he's just saying it to, especially now that election is very close. You can see small boy from the north asking questions that our old, stupid and greedy politicians from the east are shying away from. Kai. Oh my God. Oh my God. This way, don't let him fool you. They will say the right thing in public, but the real devils, but be real devils in secret. Believe El-Rufai at your own peril. If you doubt me, go and ask Southern Kaduna. Everybody is saying his own. Anyway, Nnamdi Kanu is never a terrorist. He has never picked up arms and has never killed anybody. Your narrative will not sell. Our Nnamdi Kanu is not a terrorist. He's a freedom fighter, and he's fighting for just a justified cause, saving his people from jihadist killings and all that. Saving his people from jihadist killing, so nothing linked him to be a called terrorist. You didn't see any ammunition of any kind in his hand or house. He didn't kill anyone. Nnamdi Kanu is not a terrorist. Mind you, I don't support the release of Nnamdi Kanu, and I think he deserved the life sentence. My only fight is same measure punishment should be taken, should be meted, you know. That's what this person here said. And another person here said, Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist. That Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist is a northern agenda, not Nigeria agenda. We all know that. Go give a dog a bad name and then kill it. This is what Buhari and El-Rufai and his cohort did. We cannot be deceived anymore. Pay no pay no mind to camera posting and deceitful analogies. So these are some of the reactions from Nigerians. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.